Hey, welcome back to the podcast. I'm Michael.
And I'm Sara. And today we are going into something that I personally find absolutely fascinating.
We are, and let me start with a question. Just think about this for a second. Have you ever watched someone fail, fall apart, lose everything, and then somehow get back up and try again and again and again?
Yeah. And the crazy part is, you look at them and think, how? How are they still going?
Exactly. Because most people, and I include myself in this, most people hit a wall, hit a point of pain or failure, and they just stop. They say, okay, I'm done. This isn't for me.
But some people don't. Some people just refuse. They refuse to quit.
And that's what we're exploring today. The psychology, the mindset, the inner world of people who never give up. Why do they keep going when everything says stop? What is it about them that's different?
Is it talent? Is it luck? Is it something they were born with?
Great questions. And honestly, the answers might surprise you. So stay with us. This conversation is going to get deep. It's going to get personal. And I promise it's going to make you think about your own life in a very different way.
Let's get into it.
Okay, Sara, before we go into the psychology, let's get something straight. When we say people who never give up, what do we actually mean? Because there's a big misunderstanding around this phrase.
Oh, you're right, because I think when most people hear never give up, they picture someone just banging their head against a wall forever. Like, I'm going to keep doing the same thing that doesn't work over and over forever.
Right, exactly. And that's not grit. That's not perseverance. That's just stubbornness. And it's not the same thing.
So what's the difference?
Okay, so people who genuinely never give up, they don't keep repeating the same mistake. They adapt, they pivot, they change their approach, but they never let go of the goal.
Oh, that's such a good distinction. So it's not about the method, it's about the mission.
Exactly. Let me give you an example. Think about someone learning a new language, let's say English. If they fail one exam, they don't say, okay, English isn't for me. They say, okay, my method wasn't working. Let me try something different. Let me listen to podcasts, watch more shows, speak with people. The goal stays the same. The path changes.
Yes, and actually that's something I did when I was learning. I kept failing at grammar exercises and I was so frustrated. But then I started just listening to natural conversations, like this podcast, and things started to click.
See, that's the mentality right there. You didn't quit English, you quit a method that wasn't working for you.
That's such a powerful way to put it. Quit the method, not the mission.
Write that down, everyone. Seriously. Quit the method, not the mission. That's a phrase worth remembering. Now, let's talk science for a moment, because there's actually a lot of research on this, why some people persist and others don't.
Oh, is this where Angela Duckworth comes in?
It is. So Angela Duckworth is a psychologist at the University of Pennsylvania, and she's probably the most well-known researcher on this topic. She wrote a best-selling book called Grit, and the whole idea is that the number one predictor of long-term success is not talent, not intelligence, not charm or good looks.
Not luck?
Not luck, it's grit. And she defines grit as a combination of passion and perseverance for long-term goals.
So passion plus perseverance equals grit.
Exactly. Now here's the part that blew my mind when I first read it. She did research on West Point Military Academy, which is one of the most competitive military schools in the world. And they expected that the students with the highest academic scores, the best physical fitness scores, the most impressive backgrounds, those would be the ones who stayed and completed the program.
And they weren't?
Nope. The single best predictor of who would drop out was their grit score. The grittier the person, the more likely they were to stick it out, even if they weren't the smartest or the fittest.
That's incredible. So your determination to keep going matters more than how talented you are.
Way more. And she found the same pattern in spelling bee competitions, in teachers in tough schools, in salespeople, in artists. Across the board, grit mattered more than IQ.
That should make everyone feel better, honestly. Like you don't have to be brilliant, you just have to be persistent.
Right. And here's another thing. Grit can be developed. It's not something you're born with or without. It's a skill. It's more like a muscle.
Oh, I love that metaphor, the grit muscle.
The more you exercise it, the more you push through discomfort, the more you choose to keep going when you want to quit, the stronger it gets. Okay, here's where it gets really interesting to me, psychologically. Because when you look at people who never give up, one of the biggest differences is how they talk to themselves, their inner voice, their self-talk.
Oh, this is so relatable. Because I know when things go wrong, my inner voice is not exactly encouraging.
What does it say?
Oh, the classics. You're not good enough. You should have known this wouldn't work. Who do you think you are? That kind of cheerful stuff.
Ah, the greatest hits of self-doubt. We all know those songs, right?
Way too well.
But here's the thing. Resilient people who persist, they have a different relationship with that voice. They don't necessarily not hear it. They still hear it, but they don't listen to it in the same way.
What do you mean?
So there's actually research, and this is from sports psychology, which applies beautifully to everyday life, that shows when athletes talk to themselves in the third person, they perform significantly better under pressure.
The third person? Like, Sarah, you've got this, instead of I've got this?
Exactly. So instead of I'm terrified, I'm going to fail, it becomes Michael, you've been in tough spots before. You know what to do. That little shift, using your own name, speaking from outside yourself, creates psychological distance. It reduces anxiety. It activates the rational part of your brain instead of the emotional panic center.
That's wild. I'm going to try that. Sarah, get it together.
But seriously, it works. LeBron James talks about this. Kobe Bryant did it. Oprah Winfrey has spoken about how she coaches herself through challenges using this kind of language.
So it's not about eliminating the fear or the doubt. It's about changing the conversation you're having with yourself.
Perfectly said. People who never give up are not fearless. They're not immune to doubt. They're just better at the conversation. Okay, Sarah, here's another huge psychological piece of the puzzle. And this one, I think, is maybe the most powerful of all. It's about identity.
Identity? Like who we think we are?
Exactly. There's a huge difference between someone who says, I'm trying to learn English, and someone who says, I am an English learner.
Wait, those sound almost the same. What's the difference?
Okay, so one is an action. The other is an identity. Trying to learn is something you do, but I am an English learner, that's who you are.
Oh, wow, that's deep actually.
And research on behavior change shows consistently that when people anchor their goals to their identity, they are dramatically more likely to persist. Because now, quitting isn't just abandoning a goal, it's abandoning who you are.
So it's almost like the goal becomes personal. It becomes part of your self-concept.
Yes. James Clear writes about this brilliantly in Atomic Habits. He says every action you take is a vote for the kind of person you want to become. And if you keep voting, even in small ways, eventually you start believing the new identity.
So instead of saying, I'm trying to exercise more, you say, I am someone who moves their body every day.
Exactly. And then on a day when you don't want to exercise, it's not, should I work out today? It becomes, what would someone like me do? And the answer feels almost automatic.
That's honestly a game changer. I think so many people, including me, set goals that are completely disconnected from who they think they are.
Right. And then they wonder why it's so hard to stay consistent. It's because every time they try to do the thing, they have to fight against their own self-image.
So step one is change the story you tell yourself about who you are.
Step one. And honestly, that step alone can transform everything. Okay, we have to talk about failure. Because this is the moment of failure that separates people who give up from people who don't.
Right, because failure is where most people stop. That's the exit door.
And here's what's fascinating psychologically. People who never give up don't experience failure the same way as people who do give up. It's not that they feel less pain. They often feel just as much pain, but they interpret it differently.
Interpret it how?
For a quitter, failure means I'm not capable. This is a sign I should stop. It's proof of something permanent about themselves.
And for someone with grit?
For them, failure is data. It's information. Okay, that approach didn't work. Let me figure out why. Let me adjust. It's temporary, not permanent. It's specific, not global.
Temporary, not permanent. I love that distinction.
Carol Dweck, who's a psychologist at Stanford, calls this the growth mindset. People with a growth mindset believe that abilities and intelligence can be developed through effort and learning. People with a fixed mindset believe you either have it or you don't.
And if you believe you either have it or you don't, then failure is terrifying because it's proof you don't have it.
Exactly. But if you believe ability grows, then failure is just part of the process. It's the tuition you pay for growth.
Oh, that's a beautiful way to put it. Failure is the tuition you pay for growth.
I had a moment like this, and I'm a bit embarrassed to share this, but when I first started making content, the first few videos I made were genuinely terrible, like cringeworthy. I watched them back and I wanted to delete my entire existence.
I think everyone who creates anything feels that way at the start.
But I didn't delete them because I told myself this is just my starting point, not my ceiling. And slowly, things improved, but only because I stayed in it.
And that right there, that's the growth mindset in action.
Exactly. And the beautiful thing is, mindset is not fixed. You can change it. It takes practice and awareness, but it absolutely can shift.
Hey, real quick, if you're finding this conversation useful, if it's helping your English or just giving you something to think about, please consider subscribing to this channel. It genuinely means a lot.
And leave us a comment. Tell us your own story. Have you ever pushed through something when everything said stop? We'd love to hear it. Your comment might inspire someone else who's struggling right now.
Okay, let's keep going, because we're not even halfway through the good stuff.
Okay, let's talk about something that I think is maybe the deepest root of all. Something that explains not just why some people persist, but how they sustain it over years, decades even.
And what's that?
Purpose. Having a deep, clear, almost unshakable sense of why you're doing what you're doing.
Like Simon Sinek's whole start with why thing.
Exactly. And Viktor Frankl, who wrote Man's Search for Meaning, he observed something extraordinary. He was a psychiatrist who survived Nazi concentration camps, and he noticed that the people most likely to survive, psychologically and physically, were not necessarily the strongest or healthiest. They were the ones who had a reason to live, a purpose, something waiting for them on the other side.
That's heavy and beautiful at the same time.
He famously wrote, "Those who have a why to live can bear almost any how."
That quote gives me chills every time I hear it.
It should, because it shows that human endurance, the ability to push through suffering and difficulty, is profoundly tied to meaning, not to comfort, not to ease, but to meaning.
So when people feel like giving up, sometimes the question isn't, how do I find more motivation? It's, have I truly connected to my why?
Beautifully put. And I think so many people are running on surface level motivation. I want to look good. I want to make money. I want approval. And when things get tough, that fuel runs out quickly.
But if your why is deeper, I'm doing this for my family. I'm doing this because it's my calling. I'm doing this because the world will be better for it.
That kind of fuel lasts. That kind of fuel burns even in the dark.
I'm curious, what's your why, Michael, for doing this?
Honestly, it's this. It's the idea that somewhere in the world, someone who felt invisible or unheard because of a language barrier, because they couldn't communicate confidently, they listened to something I made and they felt a little more capable, a little more free. That idea keeps me going on days when nothing feels worth it.
That's a beautiful why. I think listeners can feel that in the way you talk.
And what about you? What keeps you going?
For me, it's connection. I grew up feeling like a bit of an outsider. My English wasn't great, I was shy, I struggled to express myself. And now I get to be part of conversations like this one, where we're connecting with thousands of people we'll never meet, but who are sitting there, listening, nodding along. That's magic to me.
Okay, here's something that I think gets underestimated when people talk about grit and perseverance, and that's community, the people around you.
Oh, this is so important, because the narrative of the self-made person, the lone hero who achieved everything through pure individual willpower, it's a myth.
It's a beautiful myth, but it's still a myth.
Right. Every person you admire for never giving up, if you look closely, there were people. A mentor who believed in them, a community that supported them, a friend who said, keep going, when they couldn't say it to themselves.
Think about athletes. Even the most individually accomplished athletes in history, Serena Williams, Michael Jordan, Muhammad Ali, they all had coaches, training partners, people in their corner, people who pushed them, challenged them, held them accountable.
And I think for English learners especially, this is so real. Learning a language alone in isolation is incredibly hard. But when you're part of a community, a class, a group, even just a YouTube comment section where you feel seen and supported,
it changes everything. Because language is fundamentally social. It was made to connect people. And your motivation to learn it will always be stronger when you're learning it with people.
And that's actually one of the things I love about this community. The people who comment, who share their progress, who encourage each other, it's such a genuinely supportive space.
It really is. And if you're listening right now and you've been lurking, just watching, never commenting, I want to gently encourage you to say hello, leave a comment, connect with someone. because that connection might be exactly what keeps you going. Okay, let's get practical, because theory is great, mindset, purpose, identity, but at some point, you have to actually do something. And one of the most powerful habits of people who never give up is this. They start incredibly small.
What do you mean?
So a lot of people fail because they set huge, intimidating goals and then try to sprint toward them. They say, I'm going to speak perfect English in 3 months, or I'm going to transform my entire life starting Monday.
And then Monday comes and it feels overwhelming and they don't even start.
Exactly. The goal is too big. The gap between where they are and where they want to be is too wide, and that gap becomes paralyzing. They freeze.
So what do persistent people do differently?
They shrink the ask. They make the first step so small it almost feels silly. I'm going to listen to 5 minutes of English today. I'm going to write 1 sentence in English tonight. I'm going to read 1 paragraph.
It sounds almost too easy.
That's the point, because here's the psychology. The hardest part of any task is starting. Once you're in motion, once you've begun, momentum takes over, and you often do far more than you planned.
It's like getting into a cold swimming pool. The anticipation is awful, but once you're in the water, it's fine.
Perfect analogy. And every time you complete a small commitment, 5 minutes, 1 sentence, 1 page, you're sending a signal to your brain. I am someone who follows through. And slowly, that identity builds.
So it's not about giant leaps. It's about small, consistent steps that stack up over time.
James Clear calls it the aggregation of marginal gains. Small improvements, even 1% better each day, compound into something extraordinary over time.
1% better each day. If you do that for a year, you're not 1% better. You're 37 times better.
The math is almost unbelievable when you see it, but that's how it works. Consistent, daily, tiny actions. That's the engine behind every remarkable result. Okay, I want to take a moment here and say something that might seem contradictory because we've been talking about never giving up, but I want to be honest with you.
Uh-oh, are you about to tell people to give up?
Not exactly, but here's the thing. There are moments when stopping, redirecting, changing course is actually the wisest and bravest thing you can do. And recognizing the difference between productive struggle and pointless suffering is important.
Okay, say more.
So there's a concept in psychology called the sunk cost fallacy. It's when you keep doing something not because it's serving you, but because you've already invested so much time, money, or energy into it that it feels wrong to stop.
Oh, like staying in a job you hate for 10 years because I've already been here for 10 years.
Or staying in a relationship that's clearly toxic because we've been together so long, or pursuing a career path that makes you miserable because I already studied for it.
Yeah, that's not perseverance. That's sunk cost thinking.
Exactly. True grit is knowing when to push through discomfort that's part of the growth process and when to pivot away from a path that genuinely isn't right for you. The goal isn't suffering, the goal is growth.
That's such an important distinction because I think some people hear never give up and they think they're supposed to stay miserable and just endure.
And that's not it at all. Give up on the wrong path willingly, but never give up on yourself. Never give up on the deeper goal of becoming who you're meant to be.
Never give up on yourself. That's the real message, isn't it?
Okay, let's talk about some real examples. Because sometimes the best way to understand a psychological principle is to see it in action, in a real human life.
Oh yes, give me the stories.
Okay, J.K. Rowling. Before Harry Potter was published, she was a single mother, living on welfare, struggling with depression. The book was rejected by 12 different publishers. 12! One after another said no.
And now, Harry Potter is one of the most beloved stories in the history of literature.
The 13th publisher said yes, and everything changed, but only because she kept going after 12 rejections.
12? Most people would have stopped at 3.
Right. And here's the thing. She didn't know a yes was coming. She had no guarantee. She just believed in the story enough to keep submitting it.
That takes extraordinary faith.
It does. Now, Thomas Edison, you know the famous story. When asked about his repeated failures in inventing the light bulb, he reportedly said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work."
10,000 ways that won't work. That's reframing at its most extreme.
But that's the grit mindset, isn't it? Every failed attempt is a narrowing of the possibilities. You're getting closer, even when it feels like you're not moving.
And what about someone more recent?
Oprah Winfrey. fired from her first television job and told she was unfit for television, now arguably the most successful television personality in history.
Someone told Oprah she was unfit for television.
They did. And imagine if she had believed them.
The world would have missed out on so much.
That's the cost of giving up, not just to you, but to everything and everyone your work was meant to touch. Now, I don't want to leave this conversation without addressing something that often gets left out of the never give up conversation, and that's rest and self-compassion.
Oh, this is so needed, because I think the toxic version of this message is just grind forever, never rest, push until you break.
And that's not sustainable. And honestly, it's not what the most resilient people actually do.
What do?
They rest intentionally. They recover strategically. They understand that the mental and emotional energy required to persist long-term requires refueling. You can't run on empty indefinitely.
It's like elite athletes. They don't train 7 days a week at maximum intensity. Recovery days are built into the program because the body and the mind grows during rest, not just during effort.
Exactly. And self-compassion is actually strongly linked to resilience. There's a researcher named Kristen Neff who has shown that people who treat themselves with kindness after failure are more likely to try again than those who beat themselves up.
That's counterintuitive, right? Because we think being hard on ourselves motivates us.
We think self-criticism is a motivator, but the research shows the opposite. Self-compassion, acknowledging the pain, treating yourself like you treat a good friend, actually creates a safer internal environment for trying again.
So being kind to yourself isn't weakness, it's strategy.
It's strategy, exactly. Resilience is not about being a machine. It's about being a human being who knows how to take care of themselves well enough to keep going.
Okay, Michael, before we wrap up, I know a lot of our listeners are here to improve their English. Can we just highlight some of the great expressions we used today?
Absolutely, let's do it.
Okay, hit a wall. We said this near the beginning. Most people hit a wall and stop.
Right. To hit a wall means to reach a point where you suddenly can't progress anymore. It feels like there's an obstacle you can't get past. I've been studying for weeks, but I've hit a wall with grammar.
Then there was stick it out. The grittier the person, the more likely they were to stick it out.
To stick it out means to endure something difficult until the end. I didn't enjoy the course, but I stuck it out and got the certificate.
Love it. We also said bounce back. We didn't say it explicitly today, but it's perfect for this topic.
Bounce back means to recover from something difficult. She lost her job, but bounced back quickly and found a better one.
And what about in someone's corner?
Yes, to be in someone's corner means to support them, to be on their side. It comes from boxing. The corner is where your trainer is between rounds. Having a mentor in your corner makes all the difference.
And one more, running on empty.
Running on empty means having no energy left, no fuel to keep going. By the end of the project, we were all running on empty.
Such useful phrases. Try to use one of these today in your own conversation or writing.
Okay, we want to hear from you. Here are some questions to think about, and we genuinely want you to answer in the comments.
First question, what is one thing in your life you almost gave up on, but didn't? What made you keep going?
Second question, what is your why for learning English? Is it clear? Is it deep enough to keep you going on hard days?
Third question, do you have a grit mindset or a fixed mindset when you fail? Are you honest with yourself about this?
And finally, after today's conversation, what is one small thing, one tiny commitment you're going to make to keep moving forward?
Write it in the comments, seriously. The act of writing it down makes it more real, and you might just inspire someone else in the process.
All right. What a conversation. I feel genuinely energized by this one.
Same. I feel like I want to go do something hard now, just to practice using my grit muscle.
That's the spirit.
Okay, so to summarize what we covered today, we talked about the true meaning of never giving up. It's about the mission, not the method.
We talked about Angela Duckworth's research on grit and how passion plus perseverance predict success more than talent.
We talked about the inner voice, self-talk, and identity, how the story you tell yourself about who you are shapes what you're capable of doing.
We talked about failure as data, not verdict, the growth mindset versus the fixed mindset.
Viktor Frankl and the profound power of purpose and meaning as the deepest fuel for endurance.
The role of community, because nobody does it alone, no matter what the story says.
The magic of starting small, micro-commitments, 1% better every single day.
And finally, the wisdom of knowing when to pivot and the science of self-compassion as a tool for resilience.
That's a lot of ground we covered.
It really is. And here's what I want to leave you with. If you're listening to this and you're at a crossroads, If you're questioning whether to keep going with something that matters to you, I want you to remember this.
The fact that it's hard doesn't mean you're doing it wrong.
Sometimes the hard part is exactly where you need to be. It's where growth is happening, even when you can't feel it.
Don't mistake difficulty for impossibility. They are not the same thing.
And as always, keep going with your English. Every episode you listen to, every sentence you understand, every word you learn, it adds up, slowly and then all at once.
We believe in you. We really do.
Thank you so much for spending this time with us. If you enjoyed today's episode, please like, share, and subscribe. It helps more learners like you find this podcast.
And leave a comment. We read them. We love them. They matter more than you know.
Until next time, I'm Michael.
And I'm Sara.
Keep learning, keep growing, and never give up.
See you in the next one.